Hello, my name is Paul Bevan from Siemens Digital Industries Software. And this demonstration is a follow-up to one I did recently with respect to the simplify assembly command. I'm going to use the same pump assembly that you saw in the previous demonstration, but this time show a few of the other options available to you when simplifying assemblies. Before we look into it in more detail, I just want to point out an important customer default that I think you will find useful. In the assemblies, one of the options that you can switch on or switch off is to automatically populate the Simplify Assembly dialog on entering the command. Now, if you've only got assemblies with, a couple of 300 components, then that's fine. But if you've got any larger assemblies, maybe ranging in the thousands of components with complex geometry, and you may not even want to select everything in that assembly to simplify, then I would make sure that that setting is toggled off in your customer default. Anyway, let's move on to the demonstration. So I'll go into the Assemblies tab. I'll move into my Simplify Assembly command, and again you can see now by having that setting switched off, I get the option of which geometry, which component to choose to simplify. I'm happy with choosing everything, so again I can either use something like Control-A to select all of it, or I could window select. And this time I'm going to add the simplified part into my current part. I've got very similar settings to what I had before, so removal of small bodies of a certain size, removal of holes of a certain size. We'll take a look at some of the other options in a second. But if I use the current part and preview it, it's already done the simplification. What you'll notice is an option now to either show all bodies, or I can show either just the original or just the simplified, or both. So again, some good options for filtering out what you want to see with respect to your simplified assembly. Now, the other thing that you will notice, for those of you that have used NX prior to this release, is a very popular user enhancement to maintain the color of the simplified faces. So when I create the simplified assembly, the face colors of the simplified geometry replicate the face colors of the original geometry. And as I said, this was a really popular user enhancement. So now I'm going to complete the command and generate the simplified bodies. And one of the other new enhancements in this latest release of NX is that all of the bodies now are captured in a feature group. And that's useful because you can see exactly where your simplified geometry is. If you've added other features after the simplification, then it's easy to distinguish between them and the simplified geometry. And it makes it easier to hide or delete specific features if needed. As you can see here, I can easily switch off and on the simplified geometry within the feature group. So again, that's another enhancement to Simplify Assembly, that all the simplified geometry is positioned within a feature group. And again, if I wanted to, I could just go in and delete that. So we're back to where we started. So let's take a look at another option on Simplify Assembly, another enhancement. This time I'm going to use a new part. And as soon as I do that, I now have the capability to take either the stored mass properties across to the simplified geometry, or to specify a zero value. So these are two brand new options that are available to the user in this latest release of NX. So I'm going to create my simplified part and take across the stored mass properties. I select the geometry, OK the command. It asks me for a brand new part file name into which my simplified geometry will appear, and it generates the simplified part. And again, if I go in now into Model 1, you'll see I have that same feature group that we had before. If we take a look at the mass properties, if I select the assembly, you can see it's 78.88 kilograms. If we go across to this part, model part with the simplified geometry, again, you'll notice that the mass properties have been transferred. And of course, the mass properties are associative to the geometry. So if I decide that I want to add, let's say, a coating to this particular body, so let's pick up on some faces here. So that's my coating region defined. I'm now going to add a coating layer. This has got a thickness of 5 millimeters. And now when I go back to look at my mass calculations, you'll notice currently I still have the exact same mass that came across from the original assembly. However, when I look at the source, I can change the source to include any coated areas. And when I do that, you'll notice the mass updates to take that into consideration. So that's just another look at Simplify Assembly. Just some different options, some other enhancements that I wanted to take you through. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time and attention.